Hi, my name is Dave Wanta with AdvancedIntellect.com. I'd like to introduce you to an application I wrote called IPMuncher. IPMuncher is a firewall companion tool. What it does is it monitors event logs, Windows event logs, the file system, and log files for attacking IPs, usually through dictionary attacks. And it'll create Windows firewall rule entries to block those attacking IPs. So it can dynamically create and remove those IP addresses based upon rules you set in the IPMuncher application. What I'd like to do in this video is walk you through how you can download IPMuncher and get it running on your system. So we're at the IPMuncher website, so we want to go to the Try for Free page where we can download the evaluation version. Now IPMuncher is a straight exe. There is no MSI files. As a previous Windows admin, one thing I disliked about MSI files is you never really knew what it was doing to your server. You didn't know what registry settings it was changing, what files it was changing, and when you uninstalled it or removed the application, you never knew what rogue settings it was leaving behind. With IPMuncher, I wrote it as a straight exe application. All you get is the exe and you run it, and that's it. There is no install files. It's like the olden days when you could just grab an exe and it would run it. You didn't have to worry about installing anything and making sure you had this or that installed on your server. So let's go ahead and download it. Now when I download the exe and get it running, it's going to run from that location. So rather than downloading it to the desktop, what I did was I created a folder in my C drive just called IPMuncher. So I'm going to download it to that location. We click the link. We're going to just do a quick save as, and we're going to just download it to IPMuncher. So we save it. And let's go ahead and close the browser, and we can see we're at C IPMuncher and we just downloaded it. So let's go ahead and go inside there, right click, copy those files, and there's only two. There's the exe and the license key. Again, no MSI. Let's paste them, and we can actually go ahead and delete that zip file. So we have the license key file, which is just your license key, a little bit explaining the zip archive, and the application. So let's go ahead and run IPMuncher. Now IPMuncher will just run the application. Here's a simple welcome screen. It talks about where it's running from, and if you have any questions or comments, you can always email support@advancedintellect.com and me or someone else will get back to you. We can read the licensing agreement. Once we read it, we can accept it, and let's just go ahead and create a desktop icon. So this is the first time IPMuncher is running. So what's going to happen is it's going to create a local database that consists of IP addresses of various countries. It'll also grab the IPs of the local machine, so it whitelists those IP addresses, and it creates some local settings, so it remembers from time to time when you open the application. Now there's two parts to the application. There's the GUI, which is what we're opening right now, and then there's the underlying Windows service. They're the same exe. The GUI just launches a little bit differently than the Windows service. It can detect whether it needs to launch itself as the application or as the Windows service. So let's go ahead and just click install the Windows service, and we can get to that one of two ways. We can either get this link up here, or we can expand the IPMuncher Windows service node, and we can double click it, and it's this window. So if we just click install, we've just registered IPMuncher as a Windows service. And that's it. And in fact, we could go to our services, and let's just go to the IPMuncher, and we can see right here it is. And we notice that it's running from IPMuncher, C IPMuncher / IPMuncher.exe. That's it. One thing I like to do while I'm in here is, in case we ever get any malicious software that likes to shut it down, we can actually have Windows restart the service. Okay, so we'll shut that down. And now let's just talk about a couple of the rules that IPMuncher monitors for. And in fact, while it's running, let's talk to the Windows service. We're going to connect up to it and just watch for any attacking IPs. Since the server is out in the wild, we may see a couple that come in here. Let's go ahead and just grab this window and dock it down below. Let's raise it up a little bit. Just a little. And let's look at some of the IPMuncher rules. So by default, IPMuncher comes with 5 different rules. 3 of them are Windows log file rules, 1 of them is a file system rule, and 1 of them is a log file rule. So the Windows log files will just monitor the event log. You can choose whether you want to monitor the application log or the security log. Log file rules will actually monitor log files of any application as long as they're text-based. What you can do is you can set regular expressions to match incoming lines of those log files, and if attacking IPs are found, IPMuncher can go ahead and block them. File system rules are a little bit different. What IPMuncher will do is it'll monitor a specified directory for incoming text files. And those text files just need to have a single IP address in them, and IPMuncher will go ahead and create a firewall rule to block that IP address. So what it allows you to do is your applications, let's say your application is a website and it detects comment spam. So you have all this comment spam coming in and it's just flooding your database, or it's just wasting resources on your server. You would like to block it at the firewall. Your application could just write out a simple text file with the IP address of the attacking comment spammer and just block them immediately. It works very well. I actually do this in production on a number of websites. The number of comment spammers attacking the server have gone down from thousands a day to just 50 to 100. So it's really freed up a lot of resources. But let's just look at two of the rules that are enabled by default. One of them is an RDP rule and one of them is a SQL Server. So if we open up the RDP rule, basically what we're doing is we're monitoring the event log for these entries, and what we're saying is if we have 5 failed attempts for access to RDP over 3 minutes, let's go ahead and block the rule, that remote IP for 1 day. Let's say we want to be a little less aggressive and block it for 1 hour, and let's just back this off to 3. So let's say we have 3 failed login attempts. We're just going to block that remote IP for 1 hour. Click OK. Now for SQL Server, very similar. In this case here, we're just monitoring for this event log. The rule is enabled if 5 failed attacks against SQL Server where someone attempts to log in over 3 minutes, it'll block it for 1 day. So let's just go ahead and back that off a little bit, block it for 1 hour, and then let's also just change it to 3 attempts over 3 minutes. So we've changed those rules. We have one last step to do, is we have to restart the service so it recognizes that the rules have been changed. So all we can do is we can click restart, and we've restarted our service, and that's it. So we've downloaded IPMuncher, we've got it up and running. There's one additional feature I want to show you, and that's for submitting feedback. So sometimes on your servers you will not have a mail client installed. If you want to contact Advanced Intellect, and if you have any questions, comments, or feedback about IPMuncher, simply enter your email address, a subject, and your message, whether you're having a problem with it or you've got an idea for a feature request. You can also include your databases if you want to do a little bit of troubleshooting. Click OK, and it'll send off that message. Thanks for watching this video. I look forward to your feedback.